This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Strangers become your brothers. They got your six when it's back against that wall. And you will never have another who cared for you when times got rough. That's a brother. For you when times got tough, that's a brother.
And now, your host, Brian Basham.
What's going on, everybody? It's Brian with the Forgiven Soldier radio show. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am riding solo today, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes sometimes I like to get on here and just digress and just kind of talk through some things and just talk about life in general or whatever, you know. So made a post on our social media page, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them, about who everybody would like to see on the show or hear on the show. So make sure that you go to the social media, The Forgiven Soldier. You can check it out on all three of them, same name. And just tag who you want to see. I mean, you can tag people like Garth. I would love to have the Kelsey brothers on here. I think that'd be amazing. So you just tag anybody and hope to see it, and we can get them on. So yeah, so go to the social media pages, do all that. So I kind of want to talk about last season and kind of the direction that it went organically, really. Starting off with Colt and stuff, so we kind of focused on the local music and the local talent, which there's a lot of it. So I was happy to meet a bunch of new people that I've never talked to, like Cam Thompson and all them. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did. I know when I first started this, I said I was doing it for selfish reasons. For me, kind of being vulnerable and talking about stuff and getting to meet new people. So that's kind of where I went with it. So hopefully y'all can take something from it and meet some people and learn their stories. That's the whole thing. And I also want to showcase and spotlight, you know, the people that we have here locally as well. There's so many amazing people, but hopefully you got that from last season and this season, kind of going on that same trend. But now, you know, I want to meet everybody. So not just musicians. I want to meet nonprofit people. I want to meet, you know, I want to get the sheriff on here. Let's get Mr. Brad Youngman on here. Somebody tag him in something and get him on here. I know he's got a lot to say. You know who I'd like to talk to is his dad. His dad's got some stories, and I've only talked to him a couple times. He's been to the military ball both times that we've done it. So that'd be a cool story. I think it'd be a cool time, but yeah, a lot of good stuff is going on. By the time y'all are hearing this, Josh Merritt is releasing his new album. He was on the show, and I mean, he sat here and talked to me for about an hour and a half. So most of that stuff is on the podcast version, wasn't on the radio version. So yeah, I didn't really get to hear it, but unless you download the podcast, and that's another thing, download the podcast. You know, you can go Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get podcasts at, and listen to it. It's a good time. It's a good time. But so anyways, I'm riding solo today, but it's not always a bad thing. There's a thing that I posted on Facebook, and I read it this morning, that I thought it was kind of cool and kind of factual, you know what I mean? And it says, by the age of 40, you should be smart enough to realize these things. And there's 15 things. First one is someone makes 10 times more than you. Someone makes 10 times more than you do in a 9-to-5 job because they have more leverage with their work. So if you think about that, man, it's, you know, somebody's making double what I'm making just because they're, you know, they bring more to the table and or whatever, you know. It's like, it's all about the leverage that you have at your work and all that stuff. So that kind of resonated with me is, what do you bring to the table? You got to be somebody that they can't get rid of, and they pay you for it. They pay you for what you bring to it. So it's, something to think about. Number 2, it says distraction is the greatest killer of success. It stunts and destroys your brain. And that is so true. I get so distracted. Even when I'm recording a podcast, I get distracted. People walking by the door, I look in the window, distraction, right? And it kills the mood. It kills the momentum. So I agree with that. And anything I'm saying, let me know. Let me know what you think. I will post this on the Forgiven Soldier Facebook as well. Number 3, it says you shouldn't take advice from people who are not where you want to be in life. I mean, if that's not something to live by, like I don't want to, if I want to be this successful guy and have this successful family, like I'm not going to take advice from somebody who's not there. But I will say there's a lot of lessons learned in people, so they might not have that, but they know like where they messed up at. So you can take some of that advice, but probably not 100% of it. You know what I mean? So you want to take advice from people who are in the place that you want to be at, kind of thing. So I like that one. Number 4 is no one is coming to save your problems. Your life's 100% your responsibility. That's true as well. Now I will, and there's a couple of things in here, and I'll mention it, but you have to take responsibility of your life for sure. And nobody is going to come and save. There are people that are going to help, and there are people that you can talk to, but 100% you have to be able and be wanting to do it, Number 5. So this one's the ticker here. You don't need 100 self-help books. All you need is action and self-discipline. I will add one book in there, and that's the Bible. I think the Bible is the number one self-help and the only book that you should be reading to better your life. That's my personal opinion for sure. And I think it's a lot of people's opinions for sure. But yeah, I agree with that. I don't really like reading. I have been getting into the Bible. I'm doing that, learn the Bible in a year, kind of thing. So I'm going through every story. So I started with Genesis and went to Job. So I read Job for the first time. Never heard the stories that came out of it, or didn't even know who Job was really. And I just read the story, and my goodness, man, if you haven't read Job, that's a tough one. Just he had a good life, and he was really happy with it, and then it all got taken away, like in an instant, like right in front of his face, but he still had love for God through it all, and that's amazing. Like, and that's hard for a person. Like when something happens or something gets taken away and you want to place your anger somewhere, it usually goes to God, right? Because he's supposed to be protecting you and all this stuff. But hindsight, you kind of lose the reason why it's all happening. Like maybe he is trying to talk to you, maybe he is trying to say something to you, and we start questioning. But in the book of Job, God talks to him, and one of the lines is like, "Talk to me like a man." What would you do if God was in front of you and he said, "Talk to me like a man"? I don't know. I think I would have to bow down like Job did and say, "I am not worthy. I take back everything I said. Like I shouldn't have questioned you," kind of thing. Think about that, and we'll be back on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show on 90.3 WKWC.
John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Thank you for listening to the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show.
All right, welcome back into the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. We're going through this list. I went through the first 5, so I'll just do a little recap. So number 1 is someone makes 10 times more than you do in a 9-to-5 job because they have more leverage with your work. Number 2 is distraction is the greatest killer of success. It stunts and destroys your brain. Number 3, you shouldn't take advice from people who are not where you want to be in life. And number 4, no one has come to save your problems. Your life's 100% your responsibility. And then number 5 is you don't need 100 self-help books. All you need is action and self-discipline. And I added in there also the Bible. The Bible's the only book that you should ever need. So we're back at number 6. It says, unless you went to college to learn a specific skill, i.e. being doctor, engineer, lawyer, you can make more money in the next 90 days just learning sales. And that is true. I've done sales for about 14 years of my life. You can make the most money. Now, it is very stressful and it takes a lot of hard work, and you have to put 100% of it, 100% into it to get 100% of it. You know what I mean? So I think it is it's the easiest way to make a lot of money, but the livelihood that comes from it is, it could get stressful for sure. And I'll say that it could get stressful. Number 7, no one cares about you. So stop being shy, go out and create your chance. And that's kind of the motto that I kind of go by is, kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing. And the whole reason for this podcast is just getting out on the limb, be uncomfortable a little bit, and meet people, because you never know who you're going to meet that will change your trajectory. That's a hard word in life and the path that you're supposed to be on. And I talked about it a couple statements ago. Like, you don't, because your life is so busy and your mind is so full, you don't always hear what God is trying to tell you or guide you in. So just stop, breathe, listen, meet new people, because you never know. Open all the doors, every door possible, right? Number 8, it says, if you find someone smarter than you, work with them, not compete. I agree. Totally. Like, and this is for people that have reached 40, right? By the time you're at 40. So by this time, we're tired. we're getting a little bit older, not real old, but getting older. So just, why compete with people? Why not team up? Because a lot of great things can come from teamwork, for sure. And just being with like-minded people. And people that are smarter than you, because that's how you learn, is being around people that know something that you don't, Number 9, smoking has zero benefit in your life. This habit will slow your thinking and lower your focus. That's true. That should go without saying. You shouldn't have to smoke. It's not a natural thing at all. And I did it when I was younger and thought I was cool and thought that's what, I think everybody in the military has smoked at least once. I smoked the Newports. Thought I was cool, but now I'm asthmatic, so I don't do that. Number 10, comfort is the worst addiction and cheap ticket to depression. So that goes back to getting uncomfortable, getting out of your lane a little bit and trying new things. But when you're comfortable, you just want to chill. You just want to relax and be in that moment. So there is, I agree with that. I think comfort is the worst addiction, for sure, because you can get really, really comfortable, and that leads to bad things. Number 11, don't tell people more than they need to know. Respect your privacy. See, I have a radio show and a podcast, so I'm going to tell y'all a lot of stuff that y'all probably don't need to know or don't really want to know, but that's kind of therapeutic for me. But I get what it's saying. Like, don't show all your cards. Sometimes you got to keep stuff in house and keep it to yourself. So I agree with that. So number 12, it's avoid alcohol at all costs. Nothing worse than losing your sense and acting a fool. That's an amen. That's an amen. Now, I will say this. So I quit drinking in 2006, and that was just a personal decision. I had a bad night and told myself I would never drink again. And I really haven't. Like, I used to be like the life of the party, right? And alcohol just enhanced it a little bit and started acting a fool or whatever. But I've found that I could still be that guy without the alcohol. You give me some sweet tea, maybe a little half cut tea, and I'm off the hinges, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I go with it. But I always try, and not being the life of the party, but have fun. I can have fun in that drink and do all that stuff. Like, you don't need the alcohol to do it. That goes back to getting out of your comfort zone. Number 13 says, keep your standards high and don't settle for something because it's available. That might be the truest thing right there. If there's something that you're wanting, you got to work for it, you know, and that gives you that drive to want something, you know, and not just, hey, I'll take this because it's right here and it's easy. Like, make it hard, make it worth it, make it like when you get it, you can look back and be like, this is how I got it, and it's made me stronger, you know. So that's just my thought of it. But and there's things in life that, you know, I've took the easy road, and it's like, you know what, I'll just do it because it's right here and it's you know, it's easy. So it wasn't until I, you know, started working for it and started hustling, and me and my wife just had this conversation. It's like, we have a lot of stuff, but like, there's so much more we can do. There's so much more you can do in your life, and if you just add a little grind to it, you know, and really get down there and actually work for something. But we're going to continue this list when we come back on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show on 90.3 WKWC.
The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere.
All right, welcome back into the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. We're going through the list. If you missed the first part and the second part, I'm going to post it on the social media. But there's just, it's by the age of 40, you should be smart enough to realize these things, right? And we went through 13 different things. So basically it talks about no smoking, no drinking, no self-help books other than the Bible. That's the only book that I would add in there. Shouldn't take advice from people who are not where you want to be in life. No one's come to save your problems. You're 100%, it's 100% your responsibility. So stuff like that. But it's going to be on the social media, so you can go back and look at it and comment what you're thinking. So we left off at number 13. It says, number 14. It says, the family you create is more important than the family you come from. And I totally agree about that, because listen, the family I'm born with, I love them all. You know, mom, dad, 2 sisters, a brother. I love them all. But the family that I created with my wife, Sarah, and my kids, Addison and Avery, like, that's my family. And that's the one I want to be around, and that's the one that's home to me, right? So I truly agree with this. I mean, they are more important to me. Sorry, mom, dad, sisters, brother. Just because I handpicked Sarah, right? Or she handpicked me, whichever way you want to look at it. And then we created something special with Addison and Avery. And you can even go a step further. Like, if you are if you adopt or something like that, like, you get to hand pick who you want to be in your family. I mean, that's a great blessing right there, you know, and yeah, so I totally agree with that one. And number 15, it says, train yourself to take nothing personally to save yourself from 99.99% of mental problems. If that's not the truth, man, a lot of people go through life like trying to impress other people and worried about what other people say, which that shouldn't have any effect on who you are as a person. And it happens to everybody. It happens to me. It happens to the best of them. Like, you want acceptance, and you want people to like you, and you might do some stuff that's not your norm to get people to like you. And that's not the case. You shouldn't have to do that. And I know it's easier said than done, but you don't have to. I'm telling you right now, like, and I still struggle with it, you know, but there's still times in my life where I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm going to wear my sweatpants with the Crocs and a t-shirt because I don't care. I'm comfortable. Right. And again, it goes back to comfort being the biggest addiction, but anyways, I'm not trying to impress anybody but my wife. I'm still trying to impress her. Like, I try to pursue, you know, you got to keep that marriage part. You got to, you know, they say keep on dating your spouse. Like, you got to still keep on pursuing, because that's where the love and the magic come. But that's another podcast. But you shouldn't have to try to impress anybody or really care about anybody's opinion, but your own. And it goes back to the Bible. If you're living your life right, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I know it's a little weird. I don't have a guest, but sometimes you just need that self-reflection, that self-talk, and get it out there. Hopefully this reaches somebody. Hopefully it hit a nerve, and hopefully you start thinking about stuff, maybe make your life a little bit better. I don't claim to be anybody. I'm just a man trying to be vulnerable and get stuff off my chest and meet new people. So I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed some music. I put some new tracks on there, some JT. We got a new song, Veterans Empowered Together. We got that music therapy program. It's called Enlisted Songs from a Veteran. I put Corporal Phillips' Friday Night Lights on here. Hopefully you enjoyed that song. But until next time, I will see you all next week. God bless.
In, 8 years out, signed that line without a doubt. 9/11 deployed to Iraq, Army Greens and an old rucksack. Didn't know if I'd make it back. Birds to the ground, running to the hole I went. Months of surviving the hell I lived. Spent nights talking with the boys. We just reminisce. Mortar rounds lighting up the night sky, reminding me of back home on the 4th of July. I wonder if they know I saw a different show under Friday night lights. Third deployment to Afghanistan. Different country, same old band. Gun at the ready, strapped up the boots. Me and the boys learned a thing or two. Every day feels more like deja vu. Boots to the ground, running to the hole I went. Months of surviving the hell I lived. Spend nights talking with the boys. We just reminisce. Mortar rounds lighting up the night sky, reminding me of back home on the 4th of July. I wonder if they know I saw a different show under Friday night lights. Sky, I pray to God for one more day to survive. Now that I'm home, that flag means more than you know. Under Friday night lights.
You've been listening to My Dad on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show is a broadcast service of Veterans Empowered Together and 90.3 WKWC.